We have week 1 of the low tier mayhem against Viz and his Mediterranean Mimikyus, who are coming off a very impressive season in the BBR. As I said in my draft analysis and retrospective video, this league is an opportunity to get back on track and back to winning ways. Viz is a tough opponent as he has shown in the last season of the BBR, so we definitely have our work cut out for us to start this season. If you are excited for low tier mayhem, make sure to subscribe to the channel to not miss a single video this season. The goal for this year is 1,000 subscribers, and every subscription helps towards hitting that goal. If you haven't watched our draft analysis yet, there's a link to that in the card in the top right and in the description down below. A quick recap of the team: we have Crocodile, Uxie, Empoleon, Okidogi, Iron Leaves as our Terra Captain, Tauros, Regidrago, Salazzle, Mimikyu, Ampharos, and Klawf. Getting into the matchup, there are a few key Pokemon on his team that define this matchup. Viz's team consists of Primarina, Overqwil, Rhyperior, Jolteon, Breloom, Articuno Galar, Gyarados, Duraludon, Poltegeist, Ursaring, and Typhlosion. Viz's Terra Captain is Jolteon, which is typically one of the better low-tier Terra Captains, especially with free Terra. Getting access to Terra to break common defensive checks makes this Pokemon a lot better, and in this matchup, Terra Fairy does a great job of that. It allows Viz to pressure my Crocodile and Regidrago, making the number of options I have limited in checking it. Another big issue in this matchup is going to be Overqwil, as our build is likely going to need to be Spikes weak to manage his key threats, meaning that we need to prevent Overqwil from coming in as much as possible for free, making sure that there's a real cost to each spike going up. The other main threats in this matchup are going to be Rhyperior, a physical wall that can be difficult for us to get damage on in the mid game, and Articuno Galar, a Pokemon with setup potential that we need to preserve checks for to avoid losing to in the late game. So let's get into the team. Crocodile operates primarily as a lead in this matchup, with the goal of deterring Overqwil from setting up spikes by spamming Earthquake. Viz's best way of winning this game is to get multiple spikes up early, forcing damage to enable his Terra Jolteon. Clear Amulet allows us to lead against the Overqwil, threatening a 2-hit KO with Earthquake. By then clicking Knockoff on turn 1, we can get key damage and item removal against any of his switch-ins, while also maintaining the ability to Earthquake twice if the Overqwil stays in. This means worst case scenario, Viz gets up 2 spikes and we have a full health Crocodile. Jolly Nature and 200 speed allows us to outspeed max speed Gyarados, as well as most probable Overqwil and Duraludon sets. Thunderfang and Gungshot give us additional coverage, allowing us to hit Gyarados or Breloom super effectively. Empoleon is our stealth rocker for the week, a very important role as Choice Scarf Eruption Typhlosion is a massive threat to this team. Rocky Helmet allows us to punish Primarina flip turns, putting it into range of our win condition in the late game. Roost allows us to sit on Primarina and Articuno Galar, roaring once a potential setup gets out of hand. Surf gives us a move to hit Rhyperior, and with 168 speed, we outspeed any potential Rhyperior set. While it is unlikely that Breloom comes in this game, Okidogi this week is set up with Breloom heavily in mind. Jolly 176 speed allows us to outspeed all Breloom sets, and Safety Goggles allows us to switch in on Spore, pressuring it out the turn after with Poison Jab. Knockoff is going to be the primary click with Okidogi early, as we want to remove any potential Rocky Helmet from Overqwil. Close Combat allows us to then break through the Overqwil and Rhyperior after sufficient chip damage, and Thunder Punch is there for Gyarados, which in combination with a knockoff at -1 does a minimum of 93% to the likely 152 HP for defense set. Swords Dance Iron Leaves is on this team as our win condition, as it will be for most weeks. Clear Amulet allows us to be immune to Gyarados and Overqwil's Intimidates, allowing us to win through these Pokemon in the endgame. Terra Ground gives us a move to hit the Overqwil while maintaining a powerful move against a Rhyperior, as we do not have grass coverage this week. Wild Charge gives us coverage for Gyarados and Articuno Galar, while Psyblade is a solid stab to clean up the rest of the team, as at +2 it does a minimum of 92% to max HP Primarina. Ampharos is our blanket check this week, with its primary goal of neutralizing any setup Jolteon or Gyarados set. Bulldoze allows us to lower the speed of potential Calm Mind Jolteon, allowing Okidogi to revenge kill with Poison Jab as it changes to a Fairy type, or Close Combats if it tears into the much more unlikely Ice type. Shukaberry allows us to live +2 Adamant Gyarados Earthquake and kill with Discharge, and Endeavor is another tool for setup Jolteon sets, allowing us to put massive damage onto a Jolteon to enable our revenge kill with Klawf, the final Pokemon on our team. And yes, we get to bring our last pick in the first week this season, and Assault Vest Klawf does a great job of bringing this team together. AV allows us to switch into Jolteon and Eruption Typhlosion, two of Viz's biggest threats. Knockoff is our default click, as it gives us the opportunity to remove a potential leftovers from defensive Rhyperior. Stone Edge is a great move to click against this team once Rhyperior is removed, giving us an additional way to check his Articuno Galar. Crabhammer gives us additional coverage to kill Rhyperior if it gets into about 40% range, and a high horsepower gives us a move that can pressure both the Overquill and the Rhyperior. And that is the team. Big shout out to Kaz for all the build support this week and Diatite for all of the help mocking. Enough about the team though, let's get right into the battle. It's kind of funny, you watch the team builder talking all about playing around Overquill and around Terra Jolteon, and neither of those Pokemon are here, so I guess ignore what you just spent probably like 5 minutes watching. A little bit of a different game plan this time, so this is pretty good for me. So one thing I'm going to do to lead out here is going to continue to lead the same Crocodile set. I think it's probably the best way to go about this team still. I could leave with Empoleon actually, but I think just staying to the same game plan is probably just going to be for the best in this scenario. If he leads with something like Breloom, a lot of the Pokemon that he has in his team we can switch into relatively easily, especially without Spikes. Spikes was kind of one of his real main ways of making progress in this matchup, and with no Spike setter, then that kind of simplifies this this game a little bit. Okay, so we lead a Duraludon here. So Duraludon is a little bit frustrating here to deal with. I could knock. So Specs Draco Meteor would kill, for example, here. That's a possible move that my opponent could click. I'd have to rethink because I didn't think too much. We didn't think a lot about this Pokemon coming, unfortunately. I think what I want to do is just to push damage on it early. I don't need this for Overquill as much anymore, so I can just Earthquake and put as much damage as possible. That looks like what we're going to get to have happen here, and that's very much a defensive set. Okay, so we know it's not Choice Specs or anything of the like, and he does get up his Stealth Rocks. So this Earthquake, this is like pretty much his stuff, it looks like. Am I like completely missing something here on this set? On the Duraludon? I feel like I'm missing something on this calc here that's making it do so little. I think at this point what I want to do is knock off. I could knock off here. This thing can't really pressure me offensively, and he could go into something like Gyarados here, so I'm just going to knock off. I expect something like maybe Breloom also to come in. And this knockoff into, oh, it's Eviolite. Duh, I forget that this thing is a fucking, doesn't have an evolution anymore. Well, that's good to note. But now I just get to Earthquake and kill this. It's possible that they stand, and maybe I should have sequenced it Earthquake into knockoff. Would have probably been more optimal sequencing, because now Gyarados can come in here for free. But it doesn't matter because we're going to get to pick up the Duraludon anyway with Crocodile. So good first turn there, good first turn sequence. We trade for a Pokemon now. Unfortunately, what this kind of means is we lose one of our ways to put a little bit of damage pressure on Rhyperior, and then we kind of have to sack something to Rhyperior to bring this in. Viz does bring in the Breloom, so we do have Safety Goggles Okidogi that kind of solves this problem entirely. We are able to outspeed all Breloom sets, and it's pretty much impossible for Viz to click Send Headbutt on this turn. That would be a click of all time if he clicks Zen Headbutt on this turn, so this should be pretty safe in all things considered here. And we do see Mach Punch, so it looks to just utilize priority there to put pressure. And now we get a free Poison Jab, so nothing on this team really wants to switch into this Poison Jab. The game plan with this Pokemon was to always knock off first to pressure Overquill and make sure that Rocky Helmet was removed. That's not really there anymore, so we get a decent chance to Toxic or Poison the Rhyperior. And we're just going to Poison Jab and take that opportunity as he lets us attack this Breloom. It's a Focus Sash set. Okay, so it's Focus Sash. Interesting to see, and this is counter. Wow, Focus Sash into Spore is not, that is a little bit unfortunate. For Viz there, as that is going to put him in a really bad spot as he's basically lost his Breloom. I expect Mach Punch to just try to prioritize damage on this, and I think knockoff is the best thing to do in order to pressure something like Rhyperior that might want to come in here. I say Rhyperior in that if Viz wants to preserve this Pokemon in the long term, that's the best way to switch into Poison Jab here. I could close combat to cover that if I wanted to, but I think Knockoff is a good enough of a cover. +2 Iron Leaves, Terra Ground, Terra Blast. It too kills Rhyperior after this knockoff damage. And if it's just a chance to remove leftovers, get Toxic. I could get more creative, but you know, he could go into something like Gyarados, and then this allows me to knock off into Thunder Punch. So I think knockoff is just a better play here, as he likes to switch out. So now that we know that this has Mach Punch, that's really important to note, as he does go Gyarados. So that's actually really, really good here, as we should be able to get some good damage with knockoff. That does a shit ton of damage, and it's Rocky Helmet. So if it's Rocky Helmet, it's going to be defensive here for the most. Well, that did so much damage. Did I miss a crit here or something? What did I miss? I feel like I missed something on this scenario. Realistically, at this point, nothing. Earthquake probably kills from this range. Earthquake is doing from Jolly 252. There's a good amount of ranges, about half and half here. So at this point, we've basically resolved the... Why is this level 50? Oh, that's why it did... Why is this level 50? Hold on. What? Dude, what is going on here? Well, I guess I Thunder Punch and kill this. Why is this level 50? What? Oh my goodness. This is... Alright, well, I guess we get the Gyarados. I'm not sure why it's level 50. That's why it did so much damage. Like, I'm looking at this calc, like, there's no way anything in this calc leads to that doing that much damage. How did that... I don't know. I guess everything else is level 100, right? Like, the Duraludon took normal damage. The Breloom's did fine damage I would expect in Silgo. I don't know why this Gyarados is level 50. Well, I guess we pick up the Gyarados now, and now he's in a really bad spot. I think now... You know, kind of all jokes aside on that scenario, I think likely, unless he was drawing max speed, that scenario was going to play out my advantage to knock up into Thunder Punch anyway, and there was not really much that he could do to play around that. I was going to be able to pick that up regardless in that scenario. So I think, depending on his set, it's actually unlikely that had any impact on the game, him being level 50. This is probably Scarf Eruption. That was one of the big thoughts in preparation for this game, is that Scarf Eruption is really good in this matchup. And we do have AV Cloth specifically to take advantage of this. As here we go, Scarf Eruption, kind of as predicted, and that should do like actually 0 damage, which is perfect. And at this point, I really expect the Rhyperior to come in. I think it's like pretty evident that the Rhyperior is going to come in. So what I could do is I can get really aggressive here and just kind of like take advantage of this situation and double into something like my Empoleon and get a Surf off. There's actually really no Surf switch in outside of Primarina at this point, and I think that, you know, this might be like just like making a play for no reason to do this, but he is just going to switch out. So this double here, assuming he goes into Rhyperior, will just work perfectly. And perfect, he goes Rhyperior. Okay, so we're going to get to get the rest of the damage that we need off on this. Or at least we're going to get a Surf off, which will be good. And we are very, very fast on this Empoleon, so we should be able to outspeed basically any Rhyperior set that we expect here. Now, this does mean we have to put a lot of damage if he does live onto Empoleon, which makes the Primarina a little bit harder, but so many of his Pokemon are already either dead or almost dead that we can kind of just, you know, use this as an opportunity to get as much damage as possible. And we're going to get a big Surf off here and just kill the Rhyperior outright. So that is another threat basically gone, just like completely. That was like one of our big problems with this matchup, was dealing with the Rhyperior as well. And at this point, Viz is in a really, really bad spot. Like at this point, just Iron Leaf just wins the game outright. There's not really much that Viz can do to prevent that Pokemon from just winning the game here. Not bringing Overquill and what was the other one? Terra Jolteon just really just threw this game on its head in terms of like what his team could functionally do to mine, since my team was very stressed for rolls to actually beat those Pokemon. And without them being there, the rest of the team kind of just played into the build that I had. So we do have to be mindful to not to play into something random here. If he goes into something like Primarina, I think I'm just going to set up Stealth Rocks, to be honest, because I do have Roar that is going to be pretty good against his team. He's going to go to Breloom here. Question is on this Breloom, do I do anything besides just go into Okidogi? I mean, really, there's not much else for me to do. I mean, it's like there's not... I mean, at this point, I'm just going to continue to play to that out. Continue to play to this set. I mean, he could send Headbutt here. That's a play you would have to make to get it back into this, and I'd be okay if he made that play. Bulldoze is, I guess, another good way to actually capitalize on that situation. So he's going to Bulldoze there. The question now is can I... So we know it's Mach Punch, Spore, and Bulldoze. I don't think I can go into the... I don't think I want to go into this just yet. I don't think that's like realistically a good play. I mean, this thing outspeeds, right? Like, I could just go for it here. Because we know, yeah, I guess I could just go Iron Leaves and just like actually just attack. Nothing else actually really matters. Let me just go into Iron Leaves and just start getting kills with this. One of the things that we had to be mindful of this Pokemon was to keep HP on it to Wild Charge, but there's nothing we have to Wild Charge here at this point. And is there a reason I don't just SD in this form? Like, this form is immune to Spore. Does he have Bug Move? I mean, the thing is, he can just Bulldoze to prevent, like, setup here. So I just have no reason to kind of go crazy here. And Scarf Typhlosion just comes back. Like, Scarf Typhlosion just comes in anyway, and it just doesn't accomplish what I want. So I kind of just have no reason to not just attack in this turn, really. If he goes into something like Primarina, then I can Wild Charge that after, and that's going to be able to kill. But overall, I think we're kind of fine at this point to just kind of continue to just click moves just to do damage, because at this point there's just not enough turns for him to turn this around against my team, especially with Ampharos in the back. Ampharos is going to be able to provide some good value. I guess if I SC'd, I didn't just win there. Alright, so this is going to go into Primarina. I'm not Terran, so this should be fine. This should do a good amount of damage. Well, that's just straight up 2 KOs. Okay, well, I guess I'm just going to go for another Psyblade. I guess I have no reason not to at this point. There's no... Hold on. I'm going to be, like, very thorough at this point, because the game should kind of be done. So I'm just going to make sure there's no, like, Endure nonsense that I can get caught on here. So there is Endure that I can actually potentially play around here. I'm not really sure what Endure would really matter in this spot, that I couldn't just go to Empoleon afterwards. And straight up wall, so I'm just going to attack to get another Iron Leaves kill here, and we do get another Iron Leaves kill, so really, really good there. And now that's going to be, it's going to have to be Typhlosion here. I'm going to look at the calcs on this Typhlosion. Do I just stay in, or... So Scarf is the only one that outspeeds me, and Scarf Eruption crit is a range here, actually, to kill. So it's safer to go into Klawf here. And just play out the end game there. You know what? Fuck it. Let's see our Terra. Let's see. You know what? Let's Terra Ground. Fuck it. Once again, I mean, I could have been, I could be very much, very, what's it called? I could just be very disciplined and have gone into Klawf there to just secure the game that way, but come on, we want to see a Scarf Eruption. We want to see this kind of pull off here, you know what I mean? He's going to Scarf Eruption. This shouldn't kill, and there's some crit rolls that could kill. I guess I had less HP than I had envisioned at that point. But this is going to be able to pull up a knockout on the Typhlosion. And there we go. Goodbye, Typhlosion. Another kill for Iron Leaves. And now we have a million ways to kill this Breloom at 1 HP. I'm going to say probably a good chance that we see Mach Punch kill from Breloom here, but then I can go into something like the Ampharos. We'll get Ampharos to kill. Why not to end this game off? We'll just go for the Psyblade here and see. Mach Punch should kill from this range. It does. And then this should be a 4-0 win against Viz. Really, really good way to start week 1 of this league. After having a very, very poor season in I guess that doesn't matter. I could, we'll give it to God Ampharos. I could maybe like intimidate shuffle around this, but I just don't think that there's just no value to that. I can just go into this and discharge and pick up the knockout. I guess I could spore here. Yeah, I guess that is something I should be considering here with spore. I mean, there's no way that I lose this though. I don't think. Yeah, it's just kind of was not necessary to kind of play into that. So I guess I'm probably going to lose differential A doing this. Yeah, I guess I should have gone Clop to protect against Spore. What I'm going to do is go Crocodile to get an Intimidate off on this Pokemon. If he wants to set up a... If he sets up Swords Dance, I might just fucking lose this. Which is super dumb. This horrible playing here. Mach Punch, Bulldoze, Swords Dance Spore. I guess that's like a potential way to play. But he's Bullet Seed last move. Okay, that's fine then. And then, yeah, at this point, he has to like super crit my... He has to super crit my Empoleon. So, all right, we've kind of found an angle here to get this one. It could have been a lot more dicey than it ended up being to do that. I should have been a little bit more focused at the end there. But it is, hey, that's Draft League. Sometimes if you're not paying attention, you're gonna just make you know easy mistakes that you shouldn't be making. I don't even think crits at this point save him. Yeah, at this point a crit won't even save him. He does get the 5 hit though, which is like kind of wild. Like that was actually a little bit risky at the end, but big kill for Empoleon, and that is week 1 of the LTM in the books. Good game to Viz. A little bit of a team that I wasn't necessarily expecting. Not expecting to see no Overquill or no Jolteon. So happy with that, of course. And then the level 50 Gyarados is just weird. Not sure what would have happened there in that spot. A little bit fortunate for me. But as I said, I think that scenario plays out in my favor most of the time anyway. But overall, good game to Viz. I think our prep shown very, very well there. And that's a good way to start the season. We play against Toe next week. He's got Terra Venomoth, which is, yeah, thank you, Owen, for allowing that in this league. That's really appreciated. So we'll see everyone next week. And as always, have a wonderful day.